Okay, the next thing that we want to do is process the party. Now, processing the party in the end couldn't be easier. What you need to do is you need to make sure that you have a few pieces of information. You need all of your order forms, of course, and you need all of your door prize slips. You also need to have your consultant ID number, which is a 7-digit number, and you need to have your 4-digit PIN. So, you're going to log into the CBC using your 4-digit PIN and your 7-digit consultant ID number, and then you're going to go to the My Orders section of the CBC. Then you're going to go to the Show Orders and Bookings section, and you're either going to select the booking that has already been inserted into your system, or you're going to hit New Order. And when you hit New Order, you're going to select the date, and you're going to add the information about the hostess. You can also include the mailing address, even if it's different than where the actual party occurred. All right. Once you pass that step, once you've selected the date and you hit the Go button, you're going to not be able to change the date of that party. So make sure that when you're ready to proceed, you actually have the correct date of the party, because all of your specials depend on that date. And once you pass Go, that date cannot be changed. Instead, you'll have to actually re-enter the order. Not too much of a big deal, but something you'll probably get caught on once. So at least I've tried to tell you. All right. So the next page, after you put in the number of guests and the number of bookings and where the order needs to get delivered to, and you hit Go, the system is going to automatically come up with a list of all of the guests, and it'll say guest 1 through, let's say, guest 10, and booking 1, 2, and 3, and you won't be able to proceed to the hostess order until you've put in all of the guest information and all of the bookings. So what you want to do is hit the Go button next to guest 1. And you start by entering all of the guest information. Now, if you're like me, what I'm going to do at every party is hand out the door prize slips to all of my guests and ask them to use the door prize slip to identify their name and address and phone number and email. And then I ask them to use the back of the door prize slip as a cheat sheet, a scratch sheet of paper, a wish list. And they can use that to write down their order. When I actually have the guest order form in front of me then, they come up to me with their door prize slip, and I have all the information that I need on their door prize slip. On the guest order form, I simply write their name, I write down what they want to order, I assist them by adding more things to their order or by sharing with them some information about what they've decided to select, and then I take their payment information. If they pay by cash, I tick the cash button. If they pay by credit card, I tick that and I write out the credit card information. It's very important to get the 16 digits 100% correct. It's incredibly important to get the expiry date correct. And then add first name, last name, and have them sign the piece of paper before you give them the copy of their receipt. If they are going to pay me into my direct bank account, I write EFT on the form, and then I tear off their receipt, and I write in my pen on their receipt so that it's very legible what my banking details are. And I ask them to please get in touch with me the moment that they've made that deposit so that I can look out for it and make sure to process the party once I've seen those funds come in. I also make sure that she's going to do that deposit within the next 24 hours. It's one of the things that I like to do is process the show the next business day. All right. So, you've got all your door prize slips, you've got all of your guest order forms, you've got your host order form. Now, a lot of people ask me what should be the host order form. You can use a guest order form to take the host's order. I usually write the hostess's name at the top, and then underneath that I write hostess order. And then I put her order down there. Sometimes she's going to owe money at the end, and I can take her payment information on the same piece of paper as I would for any of the guests. Okay, so I've got all of the information that I need. I log in, I go into the order, I put in each order. Once I put in the guest's information, I actually tick whether or not she wants to receive Candle Connection. Now, this is the first time I've mentioned Candle Connection, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. But if you have collected their email addresses, you should have also let them know that once a month, you send an email with all of the specials for that month, on the 1st, actually. So if you tick that box, that client will now automatically receive your Candle Connection email if you have subscribed to our online marketing suite. More about that later. All right. So You enter the information in for the top portion of each guest, and then you enter her order. And that couldn't be easier. You put the order code and the quantity, and then the order code and the quantity, and the order code and the quantity. And once you've put all of the orders in, you hit the total button, and it'll tell you if all of those items are correctly entered and available. It's super, super simple. You always have to hit the total button before proceeding, and if you need more lines than the 5 that are initially available, you just use the little plus button at the bottom of that list, and it will add 5 more lines for you so you can keep going. You don't put any payment information on this page, but you do that on the next page. Now, one more thing I wanted to tell you is that there's also a tick box for if that person booked a party. If you tick that box, it's going to open up a date, and you can put the date and time of that party, and it'll automatically be added to your future bookings. It also will be automatically added to the party, and therefore the host will be now eligible for one of her half-price items. There's another tick box at the top of every guest order until you use it, and that is, this guest is also the hostess. If you tick that box, then all of the information is automatically loaded in for you, and you don't have to do a thing. There's one more trick that you really need to know because it'll keep your database clean and it'll make sure that you have great information on every customer that you have. And that is the little search button. There's a little search button right next to the last name of every client that you enter. And that little search button looks like a little magnifying glass. So let's say that you have Chris Smith as a client and she comes to party number 1 and party number 3. Well, party number 1, you've entered already, and you've put Chris's name and address and phone number and email, and you even put all of the things she ordered into the system for party number 1. Well, when Chris comes to party number 3, you don't want to have to put all of her information in again. So what you do is you type Chris Smith in the first name and the last name, and then you hit that little button. That button will come up with all the Chris Smiths in your database. You select the right one, and then all of her information will be populated automatically. It's not just a good idea to do this. It's actually going to save you so much time and effort. You will actually know what Chris Smith has bought, party 1, party 2, party 20, party 43, all the time. And if Chris asks you what she bought last time, you'll be able to easily look it up and tell her. Okay, so now we get to the payment information. How do you do that? You hit the go button. So after you hit the go button, it'll come up with cash or check and or credit card. If they paid by cash or check, you simply hit the go button and it'll take you to the next guest. If they paid by credit card, it'll open up some new fields and you'll enter the information into those fields. With credit cards, you never put spaces in. You simply type the 16 digits in all in a row. By the way, you've probably already figured out that when you put in phone numbers, it's very important to include the spaces. If it's a mobile number, you put in, well, here's my number, 0416 space 239 space 851. And if it's your home number, you put in 02 space 9705 space 0915. That's the way that you have to format all of your phone numbers. But for the credit cards, straight through, 16 digits, easy peasy. Don't forget to put the expiry date in, and if the system dings at you when you've put in something wrong, just go through the numbers again, make sure you haven't transposed anything, check the expiry date and the credit card type, and then move forward. A little hint, Visa cards start with a 4, and MasterCards start with a 5. So if you forgot to tick something when you had the card in your hands, that's your answer. After you've entered all of your guest orders, there should be a go button at the bottom of the summary guest list. If you don't see a go button, what that means is you have a blank guest or a blank booking. See where it says guest 10 and you haven't entered any information? Just get rid of that last guest if it's not needed. Hit the little X button on the far right and that guest button will go away and you'll have a go button appear. You can't proceed to the host order until you've put in the guests and the bookings. Okay, so now you're